Just listen. I'm sorry what I did to Compton.
You are listening to
Fire emergency.
Please don't talk to listen. I'm sorry I killed that girl.
Tengo un se quedó haciendo así. Hey, you see that? Wait, let me see if I can record.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hace más que uno empezar a grabar y empiezan los problemas.
Pero what the hell is wrong with this?
No sé, estás ahí tilteado, mira. All right. Welcome once again to the Grim Fix podcast. Welcome. Yes, I said welcome.
Well,
thank you for all of those, for all our new subscribers. Thank you for those of you who follow us on the podcast, who follow our YouTube channel. Thank you for the support. Those of you who share each episode. Yes, I know who you are. Thank you. If you have not done so, now is a great opportunity for you to subscribe. Totally free. You can subscribe to the podcast. You can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. It could be Apple Podcasts or Spotify or iHeartRadio or Stitcher or Google Play. Yeah, we're there.
we're there.
Yes. Follow the podcast, drop us a review, give us a few stars, leave us a comment. I mean, if it lets you do it, please. If you have not followed or subscribed to the YouTube channel, now is a great opportunity to click the like button first. Then you can subscribe to the channel and activate that notification bell so that every time that we drop an episode, you will be one of the first to find out about it. You can find us on social media. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram as the Grim Fix Podcast. Send us a message, whatever you want to do. Like, you know, we will answer anything that deems an answer. If you have a story you want us to read about, talk about, laugh about, make jokes about, it could be any type of weird story, right? You know, we want to stay around the grim theme.
A confession.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for a confession.
Like Charles wants.
I'm waiting for a confession.
AR, you have no sound. A confession if you want to share a paranormal story, if you want to share, I don't know, a murder that you heard about, urban legend, anything you want us to talk about. If it's interesting enough, we will talk about it. You can send us a message at thegrimfixpodcast@gmail.com. So let's start the show.
That sounds like a good premise for a movie. Somebody fesses up at a podcast about a murder.
So, yeah, man. How was your week, guys?
My week was well, can't say much. The only besides my grandson beating up on other kids, he's being the bully. He's the bully. That's.
I was working. Okay. People wanted to work out. People and their New Year's resolutions.
Oh man, right? This is like the time for gyms.
You
should do like what is it? Like not a poll. When they do fuck man, what's the word I'm looking for? When you do like research,
survey?
All this, yes, survey. And you can see how many people start the gym January, right?
And how many get?
And how many leave by like the third week of January or February?
I don't need to do a survey. I already observe it. I mean, I've been there for almost 8 years, and
well,
it's always the same thing.
Percentage. 100%.
Yeah, let's make it more accurate.
And then by the second week, it's like what, 50?
Jeez, but it was absurd, insane, ridiculous.
No, my Facebook feed has been like all these commercials to like the dieting and exercising and join the gym, 50% off, $1 to sign up, $10 a month.
Damn TikTok.
Totally free to leave.
I'm telling you, that's all I've been seeing since since the year changed.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's all you're gonna see until what, February?
Yeah, well, they say
Maybe.
I think it's most people. I think the statistics are. I think I'm not like I could be misspeaking here. Um, but I think it's by the second week of February. I think is most people, at least 95% of people, have already like quit their New
Left.
Year's resolutions. Could
Yeah.
be anything that people
By
say.
the end of a give and take, by the end of January, beginning of February,
Yeah,
yeah, you
Crazy.
see everybody dropping like flies.
I don't really believe in resolutions. I do goal setting, that I do. And I like to journal. So part of what I put, I have like a separate journal, it's only for goals. And what I do is usually I'll do it before the year changes or on the first, and I'll write down what are my goals for the year. And then I'll go back to last year and I'll check off the ones that I accomplished.
Hmm,
But it's worked,
that's
man.
nice.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna
actually
try that.
it's really worked for me. I mean, it could be simple things like, simple like
Yeah.
drinking more water, like exercising more, shit like that. But I put stuff like that, but then I put bigger things I want to invest in, or things I would like to buy, or things I want to do. Yeah. So like the podcast is one that I have like on my goals for this year is, taking the podcast to another level and all that good stuff, man. But it really works because you look back and you see what you have done.
How much you've grown.
Yeah, and then you also see where you probably slacked off and where you should work harder this year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I'll like occasionally during the year, I'll like look at that list. I was like, oh shit, like this year I have a goal of at least reading 25 books. That's my
No,
goal for this year. So
Nice.
and I'm a slow reader, so if I read 6 books a year,
that's a
that's
lot.
An
pretty good. Yeah.
accomplishment.
But yeah, I gotta push. Like last year I did read. I think I did about 12 books last year.
It's a really good number.
Yeah. But
As long as
and
they're not pop-ups.
no, and the year before, I'm gonna say 2021, I think it was. I think 2020, I started late. 2020, I started late and I read about maybe 5 books. In 2021, I also did about 10, 12 books. Like, yeah. For this year, my goal is 25. I want to push myself. It's good because if you put a bigger number, I mean, obviously, I know people that can read 25 books in maybe 2 months, but I'm
Yeah,
not a
but those are
fast reader. I'm a
that's
slow
fast
reader,
readers.
and I like to really take in the information. I really want to learn something
Yeah.
from this book, even if it's a long ass book and they teach you 100 lessons. I want to at least take one and truly apply it.
Yep.
I mean, I
Yep.
like to read a lot of like self-development books and stuff like that. So
Como dicen, si lees como el papagayo, you won't absorb
yeah,
what's
yeah,
there.
yeah. I know people like I read this book, like I recommend it to everybody. It was a real eye opener for me. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And
Okay.
but it's such a great book. Um they actually have it in PR because I saw it in Spanish. They have it in Walmart. Um but yeah, it's such a great book. It gives you perspective on life and how sometimes we get stuck on the little things and how we basically stunt our growth because of that. So I mean, but then again, I lent that book to a few people that 2 days later is like, oh, I finished the book. Oh
Yeah.
wow, that was bad. Wow, because it's not a big book. But then again, I see their lifestyle choices, and I'm like, oh, okay. So you just breeze through the words. You didn't really read the book. You didn't take in the information. So,
You're gonna suck in.
but it's good. It's good when you look at stuff like that because you see your growth, and it's important for us to. I mean, you set higher goals because again, let's say let's say a maximum of 12 books, and I set my goal for 25, but I only reached 15. It's still more than I read before.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's good to do that. Like, I mean, the goal to I don't know make X amount of money, and you set these big goals, And okay, maybe you didn't reach it, but are you making more than you had last year? So you see
Yeah.
growth, and that's how you see. And you also, if you're self-aware enough, you can identify that if you're not growing, right? If you're in the same position as you were last year, then you need to evaluate yourself and be like, all right, I'm stuck. So I mean, it's good stuff, man. It's a great way to stay in shape.
And it's a great way to stay in shape.
So yeah, this week I was in Rhode Island.
Yeah, how was the trip?
It was really good, man. I feel like the weather was perfect.
It looked
Usually,
perfect.
I mean, we got a couple of people telling us like, "Oh, why are you going over there in the winter? You should be going in the summer." But the weather was perfect because it wasn't hot, it wasn't cold, and at least 2 days out of the 3 that we were there, it was sunny. So
Yeah,
it was great. So we got there Thursday night, and I mean, obviously, all we did was check in, go to sleep. Next morning, we went out for a walk. And I mean, I'm a big nerd when it comes to old architecture and old houses. And I mean, I can't say I'm big on history, but I did come back with interest in history. So
Nice.
But I'm a big fan of old. That's one of the things that I love about New York City is going to Manhattan and seeing these old buildings. And when you go inside and you see like the elevators, there's like original elevators. When you see like the mail slots that they used to use before,
Yeah.
all stuff like I love all that. I love going to Grand Central just to look at the fucking architecture there.
You're not the only one.
So, so going to this place and seeing these old houses from like the 1700s, and these are houses that have been put into the historical society, so they can't be changed. If you buy them, you can remodel inside and you can rehab outside, but it has to look the same. Like you can't put in modern windows. You could put in new windows, but they have to be old looking. Like it's really interesting. So yeah, my wife had booked that as part of my Christmas gift, and she booked us a tour through like these mansions. And two of the
Nice.
mansions that we went to belong to the Vanderbilts. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Vanderbilts,
Yeah.
but like yeah, man, it's just the ridiculous
They're the rivals.
the ridiculous no man, the ridiculous amount of money that went into these houses. Like it's just insane. Like you see things, the detail on it. Like you don't even have to appreciate architecture to see and be like, holy shit. And then me, I go off in like my whole imagination, like picturing how it was in those times and how they lived. And then I find out there's this show called The Gilded Age on HBO that actually was recorded in some of those mansions.
Ooh.
So it gives you an insight of how it was. It's so freaking interesting. So I had a really nice time. I really did. And then
I saw the video. It looks cool,
New Year's.
I'm guessing it's one of the mansions that you recorded inside.
Yeah, I recorded. I went inside two of them, and then we toured the outside of mostly all of them. It's like a whole street where it's all mansions. The ones we went to, I think eventually I think they ended up being donated to the state. So they're basically museums.
Yeah.
And then there's a few other ones that have also been turned into museums. And then there's just other ones that are just empty. And then there's like maybe 2 or 3 of them that have been bought by new owners in recent years. And they're like fixing them up and whatnot.
Wow.
So we did
It's not
that. Huh?
No, it's not the same watching it on TV, like in persona. Like,
Nah, but that's what I'm saying.
it's
Like
really impressive.
I didn't watch the show. I watched the show when I got back.
Yeah, but I'm talking like in general, like all these old houses, and you see them on these old timey movies, and it's not the same
Yes.
watching the movie. And then when you go inside and you go like, holy shit, like the details, like it's
That's what I'm
impressive.
saying. Like me, I start like I went into one of the parts of the house that I went to. It made me think of Into the Vampire and how Lestat had his house in the movie.
Oh, that's
like
awesome.
that. That's all I kept thinking. I was like, yo, just think about. I mean, granted, yeah, the Interview with the Vampire takes place in New Orleans, but just the style of the house, thinking there's certain rooms that were for the workers, right, for the servers in the house, how they had like different entrances. So let's say if they were gonna have guests, and the servers had these special entrances where they would go set up, let's say, the tea room, and then go back out through those same doors. So when the guests arrive, they never see any of the people that work there unless they're like butlers.
Wow.
So it was just so interesting. Like um one of the mansions that we went to, the chandeliers, right? There were chandeliers, and you see them and you're like, oh, okay, chandeliers. But when you start reading into it, these chandeliers had like these little chains. I'm gonna see if I attach the video to this, because I actually recorded the chandelier because I found it so interesting. It was when Thomas Edison first had started the whole electricity, so it wasn't stable. So they had these like little chains. I mean, these people were rich, so they were prepared. When the electricity would go out, they had these chains where they would pull on it, and that had like gas or some shit, and it would be like a lantern. Yo, I'm telling you,
Really?
Oh
it was
wow, so
so
MacGyver
interesting.
shit, huh?
It was so freaking interesting. Yeah, so then New Year's Eve, it was raining, so we ended up taking a drive, and we went through like these ports where like George Washington had come in through. I mean, stuff like historical stuff like that. We went through, passed by the property of the heiress of the Campbell Empire, like Campbell Soup,
Oh,
Oh,
and how she bought this farm, and she she preserved it the way they had it way back before she bought it. I guess I'm guessing, this is me guessing just in case, people, I don't have my facts here, but I'm guessing it was Swiss owners. So they had like little cottages in the property with like sheep and llamas and all that loose. So she bought that, and she kept everything as is, but then they built in a facility, and she established a nonprofit organization that is focused on saving embryos of these animals, to basically for them to never go in extinction.
it's like a sanctuary.
So no, so it's actually like scientific. Like, so
Wow.
picture uh Jurassic Park,
Jurassic
right?
Park, yes, yeah.
So you know how they had those containers that go frozen? That
Uh-huh.
has
Cryogenic.
cryogenic. So it has a name. It has cryo something, and what they do is they preserve embryos there.
Oh, okay.
And then they have like loose animals in the field, like you see the llamas and the sheep and all that. Like I found it really, really interesting.
I'm just thinking about the scientists from South Park with the animals with 5 butts.
So
That's all I'm thinking about.
so we did that, and then we Sunday we took right before we drove back to New York, they have something called the cliff walk. So basically what you're doing is you're starting off at the beach and you're walking through a cliff. So there's parts where they built like sidewalk and rails, but some parts is not. It's rocks and dirt. So you keep walking, and you end up walking between the ocean and the mansions. So you're walking right behind all those mansions. So you get to see the back of the houses. I don't know.
You
It's
didn't
just
flip out
no, it's just
with the
ridiculous
height.
money. It was really good, man. I really did enjoy it.
No, 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 I'm not saying about the house. I'm saying about the heights. It's saying
No,
it's a
no, it's
cliff.
not high. It's not high. It's just, I mean,
Ah, okay.
yes, there's parts that it is higher, but it's not nothing crazy.
Okay.
But I don't know, man. I found it so interesting. I mean, it was a long ass walk. The whole walk is like 7 miles, but But it
No
was
sé si
good.
te
It was good.
pasa that makes you just live en esa época just for a day to know and what it feels like. Because eso me pasa a mí.
Yes.
Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's the best part for me is that like actually taking it in where you sit and you picture like, damn, I wonder how
yeah,
this was or how like there's this house that I walked behind and when I looked to the house, you could see through the windows like those old statues, like like the Roman statues and
You
all that
see?
shit, like
mm,
all that. And I was just thinking, like, damn, like just imagine like the parties that they would do, the gatherings, the balls, like stuff like that. I don't know. I found it really, really, really interesting.
it is
And I just came back and I started searching. That's what I saw, like, oh shit, the show on HBO, and I started watching it this week. But yeah,
nice.
pretty good, pretty good.
That was cool. At least you got to enjoy yourself.
Yep.
Yeah,
Spend time with the wife. You two alone,
so
and it's your anniversary soon, right?
yeah, so coming back,
Uh-oh.
we were like, oh, so let's grab something to eat before we take the drive to New York. Where we were at, there was like no fast food. Everything was like restaurants and like authentic Italian pizza and stuff like that. Cool. But my wife goes like, damn, be good to get Taco Bell. Right. So I remember that in one of the drives that we took, we were like in another town. We had seen one. I was like, oh, so maybe we can just stop there and, grab something to eat. And then we head out. Mind you, this is January 1st, 2023. I had a pee really bad. So I was like, we need to stop. I'm not going to go through the drive through. I'm going to go in so I can use the bathroom, whatever. We'll eat inside and then we leave. Okay. I get off, go into the Taco Bell, and surprise, it's not like New York. New York, in Puerto Rico is not like this, but in New York, all the fast food, most of the fast food restaurants, especially in the rough areas, the bathroom's always locked. So you have to be a customer to use it, and you have to request either the code for the door or a key. But I walked in, the bathroom's open. So I go use the bathroom, come back out. When I go to order, I see the guy from the drive-thru with his headset sitting at one of the tables. And then I look to his left and I see the manager. And then I look to the counter in the kitchen and there's nobody there.
What?
So I asked the guy, I was like, aren't you guys open? Mind, it's already like 2:00 in the afternoon. He goes, well, yeah, but none of the employees showed up.
Oh, that was a plot twist right there.
So,
Wow.
so we had to leave. But I was like, damn, how fucked up is that, right? That you show up to work as a manager or whatever, and none of the cooks, none of the cashiers, nobody shows up.
Whoa.
Just one guy. At least he was decent enough to show up.
So yeah.
Whoa.
So that was my weekend. That was my little mini
I could just imagine his
vacation.
face.
But yep. So yeah,
Did you guys see the new what's his name? M. Night Shyamalan
M.
movie?
Night Shyamalan. Which one?
Yeah,
Ooh.
knock in the cabin.
No, never even heard of it.
It's about this four dudes, these four people. Dave Bautista is in it. Rupert, what's his name? Rupert Grint, the one that did Ron Weasley.
Uh-huh.
He's in that movie as well. It's about these people that they go to this cabin and they take these people hostage and they go like, hey, like the apocalypse is coming and this is what's happening, and they show them videos of catastrophes and stuff, and they go like, and you were chosen and you guys have to sacrifice one of you. And I feel like I have seen that premise somewhere.
They have one like that with Seth Rogen. Uh, I think it's Dave. No, James Franco. Is it
Isn't
called?
that the one you were talking about last time, Charles? About the end of the world?
No. This is different. That was a comedy. That was This is the end.
Yeah, exactly. That's
That's
the name
about
of the
the
movie.
yeah, but I think that knowing his type of movies, there's like 3 plot twists right there.
That reminded me of
Oh
the movie that
wow.
Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the plot twist is that like you gotta sacrifice one of you to for this to stop.
Oh, well, that
Okay.
part, yeah, maybe that's for a movie.
What I think is gonna happen is that they're lying and they're just doing this for fun and they're just telling people, hey, like, yeah, you gotta sacrifice one of you guys, and this is what's happening. They already have like these pre-made tapes and stuff. Like,
Could
that's what I
be.
think is gonna happen. But
Oh, it
hey,
sounds
who
interesting,
knows?
though.
You should
But
check out the trailer and let me know.
wait, what's the name of that? Let me write that down.
Knock in the cabin, and Dave Bautista is becoming a really good actor.
No, I've noticed he's been coming out in a whole lot of movies.
Okay.
Yeah, better than The Rock. I feel like The Rock does el mismo papel in all his movies.
So you know what movie I finally saw?
What?
Which one?
Smile.
Oh,
Didn't you see it already?
No, I saw it this week. Saw it on
Oh, I said,
Monday.
didn't you tell me you saw it before? I saw it.
No,
It was
did you?
actually good.
I saw it on Monday. It's that was my bumming it out day before I go back to work. So I just finished watching like my shows. I caught up on my shows.
Did you like it?
It was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting. I hated the end though.
Yeah.
Why?
I didn't want to give it that much. I I didn't mind it, but I don't know. They could have
I
changed it around a little.
hated it because
Why?
it's like not the fact that she dies. I mean,
No,
listen,
that
at this
was
point, I don't
it's,
care about spoilers. Sorry, guys. But it's just I don't know. Like I expected something better to happen, or at least if she's gonna die, like do it better.
Go out with a bang.
I don't know. Like, wait, how is it that she dies? I know she's
she
in the. Oh,
burns
she puts
herself.
fire to
She,
herself, right?
she,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I hated that. I was like, that's so fucking
Well,
corny.
yeah, because it's not that traumatic. It's supposed to be for it to pass on to someone else, it has to be something traumatic.
Yeah.
But he took it as something traumatic, so
Well, it is.
I
well
mean,
to
it
him
leaves it
it
open
was.
for a part two, but
Like it for him it was
no, of
because
course, and for
he was
anybody, you see anybody
infatuated
set
with her.
fire to themselves, that shit is traumatic right there. But I
But
don't
did you
know.
guys see the 10-minute film that comes before the movie?
No.
I sent it to you guys.
The 10-minute
It's
film.
a 10-minute short film. That was the original idea, and then that's like the prequel of the movie.
No. I mean, it was a good movie. I can't say it was a bad movie. It was good. It was good. It's just
One for Charles.
that ending. I was like, come on, man. I mean, David liked it too. David saw it twice. That
What about
ending.
I still
Barbarian?
enjoyed it.
Did you guys see Barbarian? Barbarian is on
I still
HBO.
haven't seen it. Todavía no la he visto.
It's a mí me gustó hasta que llegó a lo último, and I'm like,
No, I hate when they do. And you know what it is? I feel like movies now, that's like a thing now, these sloppy endings. I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, you got me watching this movie, and the movie could be good. I'm not saying it sucks, but it's just the end. I mean, obviously, there's always this like this artsy explanation to it.
I
No,
know when they
stop
do
it,
that
stop
too
it.
much.
No, stop it.
Let's not just pick at it because if not, we're just gonna ruin it.
Yeah,
yep.
smile. You should. I mean, I recommend people watch it. Come to your
Yeah.
own conclusion, but it's a pretty good movie. It really is. I can't say it was a piece of shit. I can't say it was boring. So, after all the commotion, all the excitement, and all this, I started searching for what can we talk about, right?
Mhm.
And I was searching for serial killers since we haven't really like gone on that topic for a while. And I know there's tons of it, like BTK killers, like at the top of our list. But I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to search for something I haven't heard anybody talk about. So I started searching for different serial killers, and this guy shows up. I've never heard of him before, but it was astounding how it was. He has confirmed 193 deaths. And
there's different stories, you know that, right?
So after his latest confession, it could be 200 and change. I have it somewhere around here.
Yeah, they've said different. They said a 186, 189.
So it's confirmed. It says 193. Yeah. And then after his latest confession, it can go up to 221.
Wow.
So I found it really interesting, and I don't know, decided to look into it, and that's our topic today. So who are we talking about? We are talking about Luis Garavito. Right. Luis Garavito it's not an American serial killer, just in case, but
Colombia.
he is considered one of the like most prolific, I think it is. That's the word.
Yep.
Right? Prolific serial killers in modern history. So
the Beast of Colombia.
Let's
He has a bunch of names.
So Luis Alfredo Garavito Cubillos was born January 25th, 1957, right? He is also known as La Bestia, which is the beast. Or Tribilín.
To be called the beast.
So Tribilín, yeah, the beast sounds like badass. Tribilín sounds mad doofy. Because Tribilín, I think it's goofy, right? What they call goofy.
Yeah, goofy.
Goofy in Spanish, Tribilín.
Okay, so
yeah, but he also has el cura y el monje.
Because of his costumes, right?
Yeah.
He is, right? All right. So he is a Colombian serial killer, a pederast. That's what I was looking for now. What pederast means is basically a pederast is a man who engages in sexual activity with a boy or youth. Another definition that I found is also when they focus on those, like, remember last time we were talking about that other, I think the Times Square killer, that he like the teens, right?
Yeah.
So that's what that means. He's also a rapist, a child molester, and a necrophile. In October 1999, he confessed to committing the rape, torture, mutilation, and murder of 147 minors, predominantly young men and boys in the Western Colombian region. See, this is a guy that I don't know how he is alive today, because I guarantee you, at least in PR, if he would have been arrested for raping all these minors, I mean, just for raping minors and killing minors, he would have been dead a long time.
But you know what? When they put him in jail, he actually told I guess it was the warden, whoever's in charge, to put him separate because he feared for his life.
Yeah.
So they actually put him separate.
Yeah, they always do that. They always separate them. So I'm saying, but you have been PR, yo, you mysteriously, even if you're in solitary confinement, all of a sudden you have a quote unquote heart attack while you're there by yourself. So, beginning a series of torture rapes on minors age 6 to 16 in the autumn of 1980, Garavito was estimated to have raped and tortured a minimum of 200 minors before committing the rape, torture, mutilation, and murder of an additional 189 minors in Colombia from October 4th, 1992 to April 21st, 1999. So that's what, 7 years?
7.
Okay. And a further 4 murders in Ecuador during the summer of 1998. So even during the summer on vacation in a different country, he also did his thing. Okay. So he was apprehended on April 22nd, 1999 for the attempted rape of 12-year-old John Ivan Sabogal. Garavito was held under suspicion for several months until confession on October 28, 1999. The judicial body ruled that all Garavito sentences total 1,853 years and 9 days. That's super specific. Right? So between his Colombian and Ecuadorian victims, Garavito is confirmed to have murdered at least 193 minors in total, making him the most prolific serial killer in modern history. If his 2003 confession is to be believed, his murders of 23 minors and 5 adults would raise his murder victim count to 221. Right?
But you know what bugs me out? There's another article that says that he had killed, when I think he confessed or they caught him, he had killed 140. They gave him 40 years.
So let's see. I don't know. I haven't finished all of this here. Let's see his childhood. Let's skim through this because there's a lot of information. So it says that Luis Alfredo Garavito Cubillos was born. Okay, we already have this. Okay. So he was born. His parents were Manuel Antonio Garavito and Rosa Delia Cubillos. He was the eldest of 7 siblings, and he had 3 brothers and 3 sisters. Garavito alleged his father to be adulterous, drunken, macho, very strict, and often physically and emotionally abusive to him throughout his childhood. There goes the common denominator.
It's always the dads, huh?
Yeah, that's the common denominator.
He also abused sexually.
So, emotional reasons throughout his childhood. And further described his mother as a violent woman who showed him little affection and care as a child. Due to the ongoing armed conflict in Colombia at the time, the family relocated to Ceylan, Valle de Cauca, before Garavito entered primary school. As a result of his father's drinking and extramarital affairs and his mother's aggressive temperament, they frequently fought verbally and physically in the presence of their children, which that is a big no-no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whom they largely neglected. When Garavito was a child, he recalled being strapped to a tree and beaten with a machete case.
Oh my
by
God.
his father. That's those hard cases, right? Where you put
the
freaking
leather,
like
the leather sheet.
Yo, whoop that ass. Yo, that shit must hurt.
That shit's gotta hurt.
Okay, so he beat them after trying to defend his mom, whom Manuel was known to beat in pregnancy. Wow, this guy was a real gem. Because of the spontaneous nature of physical abuse, his children often hid upon his return home from work. Sleeping in the same bed as his father, Garavito also alleged he had been fondled on one occasion.
On one?
Huh?
I doubt that it was on one occasion.
Word. So as a child, Garavito was referred to... I'm trying to laugh. As a child, Garavito was referred to as an imbecile. A bastard. I don't know, it's just a word. Imbecile cracks me up, man. It's like Bugs Bunny. What an imbecile.
What a maroon.
See, what a maroon.
I like that one, maroon.
So other pejoratives by his father, whom he claimed never had a good word for him, solely bringing his son with him for work-related purposes and to run errands. Attending Simon Bolivar School in Ceylan, he was reportedly enthusiastic but gradually became shy and reserved, primarily due to frequent ridicule by other children. That's another common denominator.
Bullying.
Yeah. His teachers noted Garavito's desire to learn conflicted with his extreme frustration with an inability to understand subjects. Nickname Garabato. Here they say means squiggle. I don't even know what the fuck is a squiggle.
Garabato.
Doodling.
Okay, so squiggle is a short line that curls and loops in an irregular way.
Doodle.
The North American verb is a wriggle, a squirm, a worm that squiggled in his palm. Okay, so that was his nickname.
Now we know what squiggle.
Okay, so for his glasses and timid nature by peers, Garavito, I was gonna say, Garavito was insecure of his glasses and eventually preferred playing alone at recess, often reacting violently in response to frequent taunting by classmates. His teachers made no attempts to stop the bullying, which distressed Garavito. Around 1968, he left school in 5th grade due to poor memory and his father's insistence on making money to sustain the family. This dismayed Garavito, who was also forbidden to have friends or a girlfriend by his father. Shortly thereafter, in 1969, Garavito was subject to extensive physical and sexual abuse by a local drugstore owner and neighbor of his father's visits to the store.
He just couldn't get a
messed up.
break. He just couldn't get a break.
No, he was abused by his father, abused by his neighbor.
Mother.
He was a store clerk.
Yo, so the neighbor, who was a close friend of his father's, had allegedly bound Garavito to a bed before proceeding to burn him with a candle, cut him with a razor blade, and bite his genitals and buttocks on several occasions during these incidents of molestation. So he was biting on his pee-pee, like what? That's... I mean, all of it is fucked up, but it's also weird. Like, he just biting on his pee-pee.
just munching on his butt, and like you said, biting his pee-pee. Come on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it's fucked up. I'm not laughing at this happening.
No, but it's just funny, the way they.
Okay. So, right, following the first incident, Garavito allegedly killed and dissected 2 birds in a state of extreme emotional frustration, which prompted him to feel remorse and shame shortly after. After stoning the birds, Garavito began suggesting to his younger brothers and sisters that they sleep with him naked in their shared bed. He then sexually fondled his younger siblings as they slept on multiple occasions after removing their clothes. Garavito also alleged he molested a 6-year-old boy, according to those who knew him. Garavito became very withdrawn, extremely aggressive, and ready to take revenge on the world.
He was angry.
Yeah, I mean,
anybody would.
Anybody would be.
So
I understand that anger, but damn, why are you gonna be doing? Yes, that pee-pee.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean,
fondling somebody else.
It's like they say, hurt people hurt people. But
this was just a recipe for disaster.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. It was just all these I think that's the perfect word, recipe. All the little ingredients were just like, this is insane. Okay.
Stirring.
The neighbor's sexual abuse, which rendered him sexually impotent and permanently unable to ejaculate properly, ended after the family's relocation to Trujillo in 1971. Fearing that his father would not believe him and believing his family would not feel concerned, Garavito chose to keep his sexual abuse experiences to himself. Soon after arriving in Trujillo, he was shown heterosexual pornography by another neighboring family friend. Because Garavito responded with disgust, the neighbor beat him into the undergrowth before raping him. Jeez, man, what the fuck? So in 1972, Garavito aggressively and repeatedly attempted to initiate sexual relations with women as a 15-year-old youth, but his advances towards them were consistently rejected. Through various alcoholic family members, Garavito accessed alcoholic drink and developed an addiction. Due to his rebelliousness and sexual inclinations, Garavito would be kicked out on a repeated basis throughout his teens. Once by his mother Rosa in 1972 for attempting to rape a 5-year-old boy, and again in 1973 following an attempted sexual assault on a 6-year-old boy at a train station in Bogota. The boy screamed, which alerted authorities to arrest Garavito, who stated he only wanted to lightly molest a child in response to an attempted rape charge. Jeez, man.
Lightly.
Poor choice of words.
How do you lightly molest, right?
I don't know, maybe fingertip.
Just fondling, not grabbing.
Jeez.
Instead of you just wiggle.
It's insane, man. So following the latter incident, Garavito would be reprimanded by his father, Manuel, for not choosing a woman to sexually assault instead of a young boy. With Garavito's homosexuality causing frequent arguments between him and his father Manuel, he was evicted for the final time for, quote, homosexual behavior, end quote. As a young man, Garavito started working as an assistant at a compensation fund and later in a chain of stores and studying in marketing. Despite his newfound career, he began to have problems with his coworkers, clients, and bosses, which would gradually escalate to physical altercations. After losing his job, Garavito worked as a street vendor who sold religious icons and a migrant worker, developing primarily platonic relationships with various women over the course of his adulthood. In 1973, he began work on a coffee plantation as a youth in Trujillo. Let's skip to his adulthood. The 1970s. Garavito began suffering symptoms of psychosis, paranoia, and depression, which he attributed to various abuses he claimed enduring in his childhood and adolescence. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I forgot.
I was about to say something.
I pronounced the word wrong. Like, I think it was the last episode, and after I heard it, I was like, "What the fuck was I saying there?" I don't remember which one it was, but yeah, it happens, people.
Yeah.
He then began compulsively molesting both male and female children as his condition gradually worsened, developing an almost exclusive preference for pubescent boys. That's the word we were looking for. So that word, what was it? Free something?
Pubescent?
No, pederast.
Ah.
That's what they look for, the whole...
pubescent thing.
Okay, so due to depression and suicidal feelings related to his lack of achievement, he expressed desire to start a family, insisting on having sexual intercourse with female partners. When drunk, however, he consistently failed to maintain an erection, prompting an unprovoked emotional rant concerning his hatred for his family. Garavito gradually fell into alcoholism to cope with his traumatic childhood and began participating in Alcoholics Anonymous meetings in 1978.
I don't blame him for the alcoholism.
Word. That's what yeah. Garavito also converted to the Pentecostal faith. Wow. And began working as a store clerk, where he had coincidentally reconnected briefly with his first girlfriend, Luz Marie. Drifting from his family, he was only close to his older sister, Esther, who avoided him due to his alcoholism. Relocating to the town of Armenia, Garavito acquired a day job at a local bakery. Following his frequent attendance of local church services in which he would remorsefully beat his chest during prayer. Why? I thought only Catholics did stuff like that. Interesting. Hey. Garavito attended Alcoholics Anonymous meetings and occasionally visited psychiatrists before ending his day by frequenting Valencia Park, which was later known as a popular location for child prostitution.
So that means he was trying to get better all by himself.
But that's what it seems like. So he was going to Alcoholics Anonymous.
He went to a psychiatrist.
He was going to psychiatrist. He was going to church.
He was trying to change his life for better.
Yeah. Apparently.
I guess it didn't work.
Well,
it didn't work.
The trauma. It's just the trauma.
No, the trauma is stronger. Yeah, the trauma
it just seems like he had no support. I mean, listen, and this is not an excuse. Because if you truly want something, it doesn't matter.
Of course.
If you get support or not, you're going to go for it. You're going to get it. But by what we see here, he had absolutely no support. So, I mean, it just...
But okay, what age is that you're talking about right now?
So this is taking place in the 70s. So he was born what? He was born in 19...
There you go.
He was born in 57, right?
57.
So 67, 77. So let's say he was in his late teens to early 20s.
Because at 16, supposedly he left his house because he couldn't take it no more.
Well,
And he started...
when they threw him out. Yeah, when they threw him out.
Right. And he met this girl, which he got married. He started working, then he met a girl where he got married and had children.
Let's see, in the 80s.
Okay, so you do have it there. Okay.
So after allegedly provoking a fight with his co-workers, Garavito's employment at the bakery was terminated. He subsequently attempted suicide. Wouldn't it have been better if he would have been suicidal? If he would have succeeded, right?
Listen,
Well,
yeah,
well,
nobody
saved a bunch of lives, man.
True.
So, okay, so he's attempted suicide. Following
That is
this
so
failed
wrong.
attempt, huh?
That is so wrong. We're just laughing at
But
it.
it's not-
Should have worked.
But tell me,
You didn't succeed.
if he would have succeeded, I mean, we would have cheered him on right now. I was like, all right, go you, man. You saved a bunch of lives. So, all right. So following his failed attempt, Garavito sought psychiatric care at the San Juan de Dios Hospital and was repeatedly hospitalized throughout the spring of 1980, where he expressed a desire to die over a belief that his life was worth nothing. Now, should the people that saved him be charged?
What? Say that again?
As like accessory to murder, right?
Okay. The people saved them.
No? Okay.
Accessory to murder and rape.
Yeah, and rape and molestation and...
I wouldn't touch that with a 40-foot pole.
Hey. Yes, Garavito. I said it. Sorry, bro. So he was primarily treated for his diagnosed depression in spite of evident psychosis and bulimia. He was, however, prescribed antipsychotic medication. Intent on being truthful with the psychiatrist, Garavito stated he wanted to have children before misdirecting the statement into implying he wanted to start a family. Fearful of consequences, Garavito chose not to inform the psychiatrist of his pedophilia or his sexual impotence with female partners. Garavito later obtained employment in 1980 at a supermarket in Armenia, being given 2-hour lunch break. Damn, 2-hour lunch breaks? Damn, bro. On Thursday and Sunday noons, he then began a relationship with a single mother and beautician named Claudia, whom he described as being the first woman whose company he enjoyed. The relationship would be short-lived, however, as Garavito apparently could not sustain Claudia's spending habits.
Wow.
That
threw him overboard. No wonder he went back to men.
His sexual desires by binding and raping children during his lunch breaks in neighboring Quimbaya and Calarca. Garavito did not engage in intercourse with Claudia. During this period, Garavito emphasized constant urges to molest children he encountered at work. That's insane, man. In autumn of 1980, he began carrying razor blades, candles, and lighters to facilitate the torture of his victims. In addition, Garavito removed a tooth to be able to bite children more effectively.
Wow.
He removed
the lens.
Wow. Just feel that soft.
And I think about it, like, what? Yeah. Maybe that's why they call him Goofy, right? Maybe he missed teeth in the middle or something.
¿Será?
What was it? Tribilín?
Tribilín. That's some sad name. From the beast to Tribilín to Goofy. It's a long way.
So following his crimes, he wrote the name of the molested child in a blue notebook and prayed for them while pacing his room, fervently beating his chest while naked in a ritual-like fashion. Garavito also began. That makes me think of what was it? The
Um, yeah,
Da
the Da
Vinci
Vinci
Code.
Code.
Yeah, Da
Yeah,
Vinci Code. That's what I'm saying. I think pretty sure it's Catholics that do that, and like as a form of sacrifice, where they like hit themselves
They
and
whip
stuff
their
like that.
backs. I
Yeah.
never seen the beating of the chest, but I know they whip their backs with that whip with more. And it's
like
not one.
the cat o' nine tails.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Garavito also began compulsively reading the Bible each night, attempting to find an explanation, particularly in the book of Psalms, for his deviance. Despite this, Garavito developed an interest in an esoteric study, tarot readings, and Satanism. He would visit palm readers and other occultic practitioners before deciding that they were just as clueless as he was regarding the occult. Afflicted with bouts of depression and guilt from his crimes, Garavito suffered nightmares about these youths, waking up in tears before entering fits of hysterical laughter as he remembered the pleasure received from their pain. Wow.
Joker.
Yeah. So discovering Adolf Hitler's book, Mein Kampf, Garavito became fond of Hitler. This fucking guy was a mess, man. Upon discovering similarities in their early lives, homosexual experiences, and years spent in vagrancy, this fondness developed into idolization, expressing admiration for Hitler, mass graves of the Holocaust, and stating that he liked the concentration camps. On January 25th, 1984, Garavito was housed under psychiatric care for 33 days following a mental breakdown. He was prescribed antipsychotic medication and referred to psychotherapy for his depression. After obtaining a permit to leave on February 28, 1984, Garavito fled to Pereira, where he immediately molested, burned, and bit 2 children in the sector of Getsemani before leaving their photographs with his older sister. When the children publicly identified him, Garavito fled the city. He then resumed storing scalpels, candles, and razor blades in plastic bags for future victims. Having molested and tortured more than 100 children by this period, Garavito was briefly detained for stealing jewelry from a friend.
They don't catch him for one thing, but they catch him for
Word,
something
right?
simple.
Yeah, but this guy was a mess, man. I'm telling you, this guy was a mess.
No wonder he's called the Beast. He's the
Beast.
goofy beast.
It was all over the place.
But yeah, it's like everywhere. Like he's trying, like he's trying to help himself. But it's like I read the Bible, I go to church, I
Hey,
do
it didn't work.
sacrifices, I
But
do
it's like you,
Satanism, tarot readings.
but it's like you said, he has like no support. He's just like he's psychotic.
Yeah.
Entiende, no tiene alguien que lo ayude, to guide him and help him. Like
Alcoholism didn't use
alcoholism, yeah, that fucks up your brain.
It's not that we're applauding him, but
Yeah.
Yeah, but
O justificarlo, right?
No, exactly. We're not
Estamos
justifying what he
justificándolo.
did, but he did try to get better.
Yeah, kudos to him.
Shocked here, man. So, in addition to his fascination with Hitler, Garavito developed an obsession with Colombian spree killer Campo Elias Delgado in December 1986. Immediately admiring his mass murder at a Bogota restaurant, the attention it received, and wanting to emulate him as he and others noted it on television at a bar. From this point on, Garavito harbored extensive fantasies of acquiring a machine gun and starting with his father, annihilating his family before committing suicide. Admiring mass murders Akin to that of Delgado's, Garavito felt that committing suicide following a mass murder would be an ideal way to die for him. During this period, Garavito found another girlfriend named Graciela Zabaleta, a single mother who resided near the local psychiatric centers in which he was committed. After introducing himself, Garavito casually suggested that she be his permanent companion. Charmed by his confidence, Zabaleta let Garavito live with her in exchange for providing meals and paying bills in their household. As such, Garavito regularly spent his spare savings on his family in Pereira. Staying for 3 or 4 days on average, Garavito was generally absent but took care to warn Zabaleta's teenage son to not go into the street and to take care of himself, displaying love and affection he felt he never had in early life toward the family. Despite this, Zabaleta was wary of Garavito's alcoholism, which often spurred scandalous and antisocial behavior. Like Luz Marie, Garavito also would later claim to have loved Zabaleta. After being seen drunk in the company of various pubescent youths of humble appearance by his friends Jairo Toro and Ancisal Valencia, Garavito's companions became aware of their friends' pederasty. Despite this, Garavito was not confronted, and most of his acquaintances did not suspect any sexual deviation. In addition, his various girlfriends were also oblivious to Garavito's predilections. Starting in 1998, Garavito began documenting his crimes, keeping them in a black cloth suitcase at several females' residences. Okay, so now we're going into the 90s. This is where the nitty-gritty starts developing. Right?
The real shit.
So between 1980 and 1992, Garavito was estimated to have raped and tortured a minimum of 200 youths.
Minimum.
Damn. Okay, so 12
minimum.
A minimum of 200 youths. Yep. A period during which he had actively spent 5 years under psychiatric care. So it was 12 years. Out of those 12 years, 5 of those, he was under psychiatric care, having attempted suicide several times. Wherever Garavito had resided during this time, reports of child molestation in said areas increased dramatically.
So he was in psychiatric care due to his trying to commit suicide.
His life.
No, but he was he was there because he tried to commit suicide.
No.
He wasn't there for anything else. He was just because he was trying to commit suicide.
Telling you, should they not be held responsible?
Yes. Well, they should. They should.
Accessory
I asked myself, what about if they would have done a lobotomy? Would it have worked?
Didn't they stop doing that like in the 60s
yeah,
or something?
They stopped, but with assholes like him, they should do shit like that.
What do you mean a lobotomy? Explain.
Isn't that considered barbaric? They consider it barbaric.
Okay, then what did he do? Was it barbaric?
Yeah.
What's a lobotomy? Explain.
It's for some reason they stick something like
I'm asking for a friend.
Huh?
I'm asking for a friend.
What you mean asking for a friend? I don't get it. If it's a joke, I didn't get it.
Oh, what's a lobotomy?
A lobotomy is something.
Okay, tuviste a sucker punch?
No.
Ellos cogen un punzón and they put it like where the tear duct is at, and they'll hit it with a hammer to a certain point. And it kind of not numbs them, but for some reason they like.
Don't they pick like a piece of the brain? Like
it's something like that.
we don't know nothing.
I don't know. It like dumbs them down. It should be.
It reminds me of the Simpsons episode.
Yeah, I remember they did that before, right?
Yeah. Oh,
You should check it out. It's
Google
something
it.
they used to do back then.
Yeah, I'll tell
They
my
don't.
friend to look it up. My friend to look it up. My friend doesn't know what a lobotomy is, but
He'll Google it.
he'll Google it. All right. So, while operating a Ouija board, Garavito alleged that he entered a state of psychosis. I'm telling you, see, this guy tried everything, basically.
Well, that wasn't to get better then.
No, in which a state of psychosis in which the devil had asked whether he would like to serve him.
Now we know he's done everything.
Answering that he would, the devil responded saying, "Kill, that with killing many things may come." Attempting to commit,
Did you just say kill or ill?
Kill.
For some reason, I heard ill.
No, kill. He says that with killing, many things may come. Attempting to commit his first murder in October 1st, 1992, Garavito sought a young boy who had been selling sweets and cigars to passerby. In a state of drunkenness, he lured the youth, who he planned on bringing to a wooded lot to the Melia Hotel sector in Bolivar, Colombia, before being interrupted and beaten by local police, one of whom hit him over the head with a revolver. As Garavito bled, they then stole 100,000 pesos, a watch,
That's bullshit,
and a ring from him before letting him go from a police station. Garavito then resolved to commit murder 3 days later. Dun, dun. Committing his first murder of a boy named Juan Carlos on October 4th, 1992, Garavito began wearing various disguises in order to evade identification and arrests. Known locally as Goofy, a generous man who gave to children in Trujillo, locals went out of their way to keep documents for Garavito. For years, Garavito documented his crimes by tickets, receipts, clothes, and identity cards of victims in a black cloth suitcase. Garavito left the suitcase with his sister, Esther, before giving it to Luz Marie. He also collected their amputated toes before disposing of them for fear that Colombian National Police scent dog team may trace them to him. In June 1996, Garavito complained to Luz Marie of losing his temporary job as a salesman for air fresheners, begging for a place to stay in exchange for food and financial relief. Wary of Garavito for his alcoholism and temper, she took him in briefly with hesitance. Garavito then suffered a hard fall in the Guacamayas neighborhood of Bogota, breaking his leg in August 1996. Stricken with pain, he resided temporarily with a man before begging his girlfriend Luz Marie to let him stay at her residence again. Restricted by having to use crutches, wear a neck brace, and a cast, Garavito resorted to begging on the street for 2 months. For the 2 months he resided with her. Garavito provided for the household by paying for meals and other means, such as bringing a television. He remained hostile, however, and entered a fight with his girlfriend's 15-year-old son for wanting to watch the local news. Luz Marie subsequently evicted Garavito, who derided her son as disrespectful and rude, and had also damaged a gold chain she had gifted to him. Later that year, on Christmas, Luz Marie received a gift from a visiting friend, which prompted an angry, drunken phone call from Garavito, who stated that he, quote, didn't like those F words. And it's not fox. All right? It rhymes with maggots.
Okay.
We can't say that word anymore.
No, we can't.
So visiting as he feared they would steal her generosity from Garavito. After being informed he was no longer welcome, Garavito appeared the next morning shouting obscenities and threats while grabbing Luz Marie's throat, prompting her and the family to hide at a neighbor's house. After several hours, Garavito left an apology note asking for her forgiveness. Jeez, bipolar much? And noting his, quote, damage, end quote, to their household. Nicknamed Conflict, it's another nickname he had.
Damn, how many you had
By
already?
locals, Garavito was frequently seen drunk and drifting from town to town as he outwore his welcome, often due to his domestic disputes with coworkers, abuse of his girlfriends, and general inability to behave normally.
There's nothing normal for his behavior.
His erratic behavior reportedly left him unable to develop meaningful relationships, despite living with two different women in Pereira at the time of his arrest. Towards the end of Garavito's crime spree, he drifted through Western Colombia as a homeless drifter, weary of murdering minors who he felt were much too easy to lure. Garavito developed plans to eventually commit a mass murder in which he would kidnap several adults and murder them as he attracted the attention of journalists, possibly dying in the frenzy. Nevertheless, Garavito was detained for the attempted sexual assault of a 12-year-old boy named John Ivan Sabogal before being able to perform this mass murder on April 22nd, 1999.
That's weird. He wanted to mass murder adults, but yet he was able to just go all out on these little kids.
I don't think I've ever read about a person who specifically targeted kids in this way.
He went all out, especially on boys, because they don't even mention females.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think I've ever heard of a case like this. Not like this. Like the fact that he targeted specifically boys, targeted specifically minors, you know, and not only kill them, but torture them and rape them and then kill them.
Yeah, he's done. Wow.
That's...
He would pick off the little kids that were on the street. The ones that like homeless, and if they disappear, nobody notices. That's why he's got so many.
So
I was reading about that.
His modus operandi, I mean, we have the murders here. And this is a lot of information.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want to go into detail, right? Yeah, I really don't want to go into the details of
he's done
kids and all this like
some real sick stuff. He's
yeah.
No,
all right, so let me just read his modus operandi, which to me that's very intriguing of every serial killer. So it says here that according to Garavito, he primarily targeted children of humble background who had light-colored eyes and were working class, homeless, peasants, or orphaned.
Damn, he really went all out on specifics.
So yeah, he wasn't just targeting random kids. He had like specific type of kids.
Well, specific in the way they look. Because basically, the ones like peasants, homeless, this all like in general is the same thing.
Well, but that's what I mean. So he specific types of kids, but specifically like socially.
Oh, okay,
not even appearance. It's like social, like a type of social class. Even though it says, yeah, like targeted, you know, with light eyes, but that's like the only characteristic besides boys and light eyes. But it's like he focused on a specific social class, right? Okay, so it says claiming to feel a force within that compelled him to kill. Garavito would look for children and lure them away by bribing them with small gifts such as money, candy, or odd jobs. Terrified of the dark, he would approach them in a broad daylight in public places, ranging from the countryside to crowded city streets. He would also wait and drink brandy near school zones on evenings to wait for unknowing children. He had a preference for male youth with light-colored eyes and fair complexion.
Eh?
Having been raised in the heavily Spanish-descended Paisa region of Colombia, Garavito knew where to find boys that fit his criteria. He offered easy work for money and even disguised himself as different characters who could be seen as legitimately having reasons to interact with children, such as a priest, a monk, farmer, a homeless man, a street vendor, a fortune teller, a baker, a drug dealer, a school teacher, charity organization worker, a bar and restaurant manager, elderly man, and a gambler.
What kind of shit is that? Dressing up as a drug dealer.
I know,
How
right?
you-
Yeah, but remember, these are homeless kids. Like,
Yeah, no,
whatever.
because no, but they weren't only homeless. They were also children from vendors, some street vendors. You know, sometimes where
Yeah.
the parents they'll sell stuff on the street and they have their kids also, working with them. They would take those too.
So it says that
Crazy.
he often posed as a monk or priest. One of his many nicknames in Colombia media was El Cura, which is the priest, and lured children with promises of money or drinks. To prevent suspicions about his activities from developing, Garavito would change his disguise often. Once he had the trust of a child, Garavito would walk to a secluded spot or mass grave site with the victim, encouraging them to talk about their personal life until they were tired and vulnerable, which then made them easy to handle. After sipping about half a bottle of brandy, Garavito would proceed to bind the children, intimidating them with a knife as he fondled and sometimes masturbated over them. According to Garavito, he made a pact with the devil, and satanic rituals were also incorporated into the murders of the children who were apparent blood sacrifices. Usually, the child would endure prolonged rape and torture by having the hands, feet, and buttocks stabbed with a screwdriver. Garavito also known to place broken blades in between his fingers and flay the skin of the child's butt. Damn, man. All right.
And we thought that the toy box killer was
No,
Sick.
to be honest, so far
toy box killer un nene teta.
all these serial killers we've spoken about ain't shit compared to this guy. Like, I'm like shocked. I don't think I've ever been like shocked the way I am right now as I'm reading this. We're not putting most of this in the podcast. You're more than welcome to search for his story, Luis Garavito, but holy shit, man.
You can just skip to when he was catched.
So yeah, people, you are more than welcome to search for his story. I'm just gonna jump to his arrest. This is like very disturbing, but again,
Can you give out where did you find it so people can read?
I just
How
googled
graphic?
it. This is part mostly most of this information is all Wikipedia, but yeah, there's a bunch of stories there that you'll find, and Wikipedia also has like a lot of links to other stories that you can search. I'm like nauseous, man. I don't think I ever get like this at a story, but it's like you just picture that shit, man. It's like how do you do that to a human? Nonetheless, how do you
Let
do it to a
alone
child?
do it to a
I
child.
don't a kid.
That's
Sick.
So again, they should
gotta
have
be
let
more
him.
than safe.
They should have
And-
let him
and-
commit suicide when he was trying.
And like I was reading, I wasn't reading. I was watching a documentary. They're about to let him go. They're about to let him go, and people are just complaining, fighting, saying they shouldn't let him out. He should stay in there and just die in there.
All right, so Garavito was picked up by local police just a few days later on an unrelated charge of attempted rape against the same kid we said earlier. On April 22nd, 1999, Garavito was drinking brandy in the evening when he encountered Sabogal selling lottery tickets in the city of Villavicencio, introducing himself as Bonifacio Morera Liscano, a local politician. Garavito proceeded to seize Sabogal with a knife before threatening the child into silence. Pretending to hug Sabogal, Garavito escorted him into a taxi before forcing him to climb a barbed wire fence that led to a secluded hillside. At the location, Garavito proceeded to bind Sabogal while repeatedly screaming, "Am I a sadist?" He then taunted the child with the blade, shouting various obscenities as he played with himself. A homeless 6-year-old boy had been close enough to hear the struggle between Garavito and the child. The teen began to curse and throw stones at Garavito. Garavito chased the teenager with his dagger. Both the boy and the teen fled to the Rosa Blanca farmhouse located on La Carolina Road in Villavicencio, where they were met by a 12-year-old girl. Garavito later reached the farmhouse aggressively asking the girl for direction. She directed Garavito into the woods where he became lost. The police were contacted, resulting in a search. Authorities found Garavito walking out of the woods at approximately 7 p.m. as they urged angry locals not to get involved in the search. He gave them a false ID and claimed to be the politician Liscano. Despite this, they suspected the man to be Garavito anyway. On July 4th, 1999, their suspicion was confirmed. For Colombia's Justice Department, Garavito's confession was not enough. Garavito had an eye condition that was rare and only found in men in a particular age group. His glasses were specifically designed for his unique condition. These particular glasses were found at a crime scene. Garavito also left behind bottles of brandy, his underwear, and his shoes. DNA was found on the victims along with the other items he left behind. Police scheduled the entire jail where Garavito was being detained to get an eye exam, the outcome of which would help police pair the glasses to Garavito. By making it mandatory for all prisoners, it reduced Garavito's suspicion and kept him from lying about his eyesight. His height of 165 centimeters, which is 5'5", so he was short, and limp were also crucial in connecting him with the investigators' findings. While Garavito was out of his cell, detectives took DNA samples from his pillow and living area. The DNA found on the victims was a match to the DNA found in Garavito's cell. Garavito confessed to murdering about 140 children and was charged with killing 172 altogether throughout Colombia. He was found guilty of 138 of the 172 accounts. The others are ongoing. Garavito was sentenced to 1,853 years and 9 days in prison, the lengthiest sentence in Colombia history. However, Colombia law limits imprisonment to 40 years, and because Garavito helped police find the victims' bodies, his sentence was reduced to 22 years.
You gotta be some stupid ass motherfucker. No joke.
So Garavito is currently serving his sentence in a maximum security prison in Valledupar in the department of El Cesar in Colombia. He is held separately from all the prisoners because it is feared that he would be killed immediately. Why not let this happen?
He deserves it.
Yeah,
He tried to get better. Didn't do it. I guess
fuck
he
that
didn't.
guy. Nah, fuck that guy.
He
After what I read,
deserves to
fuck that
get-
guy. So he will become eligible for parole this year, 2023.
So let's wait for the news. We're gonna hear that he was killed in the street by a bunch of Colombians. Watch, that's what's gonna happen.
So Garavito, yeah, if he goes out in the street, he's gonna get.
Of course, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Nah,
Do you think he's gonna go out?
Well,
according to the law over there, yeah.
I think they reduced it to 12 years.
But I mean, it doesn't
From
matter.
40,
It's like
from
40 to 22. It went down to 22.
20, then it went down to 12.
No,
Yeah,
but if he was caught in, he was already. If he was caught in 99, he's already 22 is with 2023, so he's already served his 22 years.
But what does parole mean? I mean, ellos tienen que aprobarle que él salga, ¿no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So están en
So,
eso. They,
so do you think ellos van a aprobar que él salga?
well, so far, he has good behavior. He's been studying. He's been doing everything like by the books inside. So that's what they're looking at. That's what they're looking at. They're gonna let him out, and he's just gonna die in the street by a group of people that's just gonna take him. They're gonna take him out.
Mob.
A mob. I don't know. Whatever
Eye for
whatever
an
it is.
eye, man. Eye for an eye, man. I'm telling you. All right, so Garavito remains hopeful, having expressed to Colombian Senator Carlos Moreno de Caro apparent plans to enter Colombian Congress, enter the ministry as a Pentecostal pastor, and marry a woman. Fuck this guy, man. In rejection of his self-admitted homosexuality, in the hopes that he will be able to help abused children. Look at the fucking balls in this guy. In hopes that he will be able to help abused children upon his release. Garavito suffers from severe eye cancer, which leaves him weak and fatigued, requiring daily blood transfusions. Let him die, please. He spends most of his time making handcuffs, earrings, and necklaces in the medical unit of Valledupar's prison. The public response. Many Colombians criticize the possibility of Garavito's early release. In recent years, Colombians have increasingly felt that Garavito's sentence was not sufficient punishment for his crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Some have argued that he deserves either life in prison, that's the least they should have done, life,
Of course.
or the death penalty, neither of which exist in Colombia. Colombian law has no provision or method to impose a sentence longer than what Garavito received, which was seen as a deficiency in the law caused by failure to address the possibility of a serial killer in Colombian society. The law has since increased the maximum penalty for such crimes to 60 years in prison.
It's still nothing.
Journalist Guillermo Prieto Pirri La Rota interviewed Garavito for a show which was broadcast in June 11, 2006. Pirri mentioned that during the interview, Garavito tried to minimize his actions and express intent to start a political career in order to help abused children. Pirri also described Garavito's conditions in prison and commented that due to good behavior, he could probably apply for early release within 3 years. All right, I'm done with this. But
he deserves what he's gonna get when he comes out.
Yeah.
Listen, I keep saying the same thing. You have a guy like this. We already know it's you.
Yeah, he confessed it.
You confessed. We have proof. We have proof with the glasses. We have DNA proof. Various samples of DNA proof. Not one.
It looked like he wanted to get caught for some reason, or he just, I don't know.
Yeah, he was just already sloppy. He didn't care.
Yeah,
like
he didn't
si
give
me
a
cogían
shit.
o no, yeah, he didn't care.
That's what I'm saying. You already have, so you have no doubt, like you have multiple DNA samples that proved that he was in those crime scenes. Because not one, there was a few crime scenes that they could tie him to. So we already have the proof it's this guy. So now, the minimum sentence he should have got is life since they don't have the death sentence, right? And then just throw him in with general population. Oh, I'm scared for my life, bro.
Not
you should have
even.
thought of that before you came in.
They don't give him life. They just throw him into the general population. Yeah, that's it.
That's what I'm saying. The sentence to please the people, the minimum sentence, life. You got that much. Okay. Now put him in general population. You don't feel safe? That sounds like a you problem, bro. That's it.
I do feel kind of bad. They never mentioned. Well, it was never mentioned that did he abuse his own child? Because over here I have Lewis eventually ran away at age 16, having never finished school and had a girlfriend named Teresa. They had a child together, and reportedly Luis was very fond and nice to their child. Ahora, if they kill him, are they gonna take it out on the kid? Joderlo a él.
I don't know, but I would be like,
Please, please, general population, can you rape this man, please? Every day, every day, every day. He likes it.
Here's
Tri-
Goofy.
Tribilín, front and center.
Revealing, please come to the front of the. Revealing, please come with your pants on your ankles, please.
that's it. That's it. There's no feeling bad. There's no you did that to all these kids. I would make a list. These are the things he liked to do. Go ham, people. That's it. I'm sorry. I feel no pity for this.
No, of course not.
Pretty-
Like, he deserves everything that he gets. He deserves it.
That's the shit. He hasn't got anything.
That's the problem. But wait till he steps out.
Nah, man. Fuck
They're
that.
gonna
I'm not
fucking
satisfied with
mutilate. They're
that.
gonna mutilate him.
I'm not satisfied with that. Like I'm
You know,
telling you.
como te digo, that's how it is over there. That's the law over there. 40 years and that's it.
Adentro podrán protegerlo de los otros, pero afuera.
No,
Nah, man. Like that guy in PR that killed his kids with the box cutter. You guys remember that case?
I vaguely remember.
Yeah,
He
I
took the box
vaguely.
cutter and he took his 4 kids and slit their throats and their wife.
I
They put
vaguely
him in
remember.
jail.
Ah.
He came out in the news with his bulletproof vest and his helmet. They put him in jail. He lasted like 2 days in jail. Solitary confinement. Oh shit, wait. He must have had a heart attack. He woke.
Habrá si son los mismos guardias.
What do you
Yeah.
think? He's there by himself. What do you think that is?
Hmm?
You know, and then I think in his vomit they found like glass.
Mira, ahí.
Sweet justice. That's what I'm talking about. That's
Pero,
make that
that's
shit
not Puerto
public.
Rico.
Make that shit public. I want everybody to hear about this. I want everybody to know. This is what's gonna happen to you if you do shit like this. Fuck out of here. Like,
Crazy.
all right, so that's my part here. I got nothing else to say about this
Douche.
Joyita.
piece of shit, man. Nah, it's like I'm
I
like
can't
pissed
even
off,
use
bro.
Ollita, man.
I'm like pissed off because it's like I've never read a case like this. I kid you not. And I've read a lot of crazy shit. I've never read a case like
I'm
this.
telling you, the toy box killer is nothing.
Yeah, man. And then granted, okay, it was like, oh, but that wasn't in America. It doesn't matter. It's life, man. Children's life at that.
Yep.
Like
That's
more
that's
people
like
should
the
know
worst,
about this
man.
case. More people need to know about this case. So it's up to you guys, the listeners and viewers, to share this with people. This is a case I don't think many people, I've never heard of it.
Need to have
And
a
I've been into this type of content for a few years. I've never heard of this case. So those of you who are watching and listening, your responsibility is to share so that people hear about this. Because, and mind you, we didn't read everything. There's just shit here I couldn't even read. There's things that we have to remove from the podcast. I have to edit it out because it's too graphic.
Graphic.
The things that this monster did to.
Yeah, I think Monster is such a good name.
Kids.
So yeah, I have here like a list of his other names. They call him the Beast and Goofy, the Monster of Genova, the Priest, the Madman, Conflict, Alfred Salazar, Bonifacio Morera Liscano.
Bonifacio.
No, but I'm thinking about like Monster. It's such a good name, you know. I'm saying sarcastically, you know. I'm looking like for the worst word to call him. You know, just like the worst name you could call him.
That deserves some what was it? The law-abiding citizen justice.
Oh yes, that'd be perfect.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, make it public. Let everybody watch it. Yeah, let everybody see. This is what happens.
You seen the video where he's crying and shit?
No, I haven't. But after
did.
this, I'm gonna have to look for videos on this
But
guy.
I was watching a documentary where he's just crying his eyes out. I think the cops were interrogating him, and when he cracked, he was just crying. I mean, literally bursted out in tears.
And the fact that this guy, I mean, it's obvious he truly believes he's a victim. And the fact that he wants to come out, have a political career, and help children that have been abused, man, fuck you, bro. No.
You know, I give it to him. He was a victim to a certain point.
Listen, he was a victim, yes. Did he have a rough life? Of course. Did it suck? Yes. Is it sad that the fact that maybe he was seeking help and he didn't have any support? Yes. Okay. But the fact that you decided, again, not only were you killing people, you were killing children. Not only were you killing children, you were torturing these kids.
Torturing.
You were getting off on it. And that you were raping them.
Yeah.
You were killing them and mutilating them and then raping them again after death. Like, man, fuck you, bro. Like, nah, man. Oh, God.
The question is, ¿cuán porcentaje de eso es like mental health and cuán porcentaje eso es poca vergüenza, ¿me entiendes?
Dude, I don't even care at this point. A shit like this, a case like this, I don't care what you suffer of. All I'm going to think about is the kids. That's all I'm going to think about. I don't care what you went through. I don't care what's your reasoning, if you have mental health or if you don't, or if you're psychotic. I don't care. A case like this, I'm telling you, if I was the warden or the president, I shit you not, I would make a public spectacle of this guy.
The way they used to do back then. They used to hang them in front of it, like they.
Everybody.
Huh?
I would,
in front of everybody, like in La Plazoleta. Hang them or just, I don't know, whatever it is, the torture.
Like, seriously, I would make a pay-per-view event out of this. But for free. It'll be free. But it'd be like a pay-per-view. I'll announce it on posters. Tune in.
Give out flyers and shit.
Yeah, tune in and watch the execution of this piece of shit. Like, I'll give people like a short documentary, like the boxers do. That they do the whole special showing them training. I'll do all of that spectacle and go to this website or whatever it is, and you're gonna watch it live. And I'm telling you, yep. Oh my God. Yeah, I want to remind everybody again, if you have not done so, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share this with your friends and family and people that you know, and leave a comment. If you've heard about this case, maybe there's information that we didn't discuss. Obviously, there is a lot of graphic information that we decided not to put in the episode because these are children we're talking about. But if you have anything to comment on it, please leave us a comment. We will read and respond whatever deems an answer. If you are listening to us on podcast platforms, we ask that you please follow the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review, and share. People need to hear about this. People need to know about this. And the fact that this guy could be so close to being let loose, yes, these are things people need to hear. Find us on social media. Find us on Facebook and Instagram as the Grim Fix Podcast. And again, we remind you, if you have a story, weird story, paranormal story, urban legend, a confession like Charles wants, anything you would like us to read, if it's interesting enough, we will read it, we will discuss it, we will dissect it. It could probably be a topic of a whole episode, depending on the story. Write us at thegrimfixpodcast@gmail.com.
If you killed Colonel Mustard with the wrench at the library, I want to know about it.
There you go.
Even if it's in Spanish.
You can write it in Spanish. That's fine.
Yo, what would you do if Garavito would call and confess live or whatnot?
Fuck that guy, man. Yeah, let him come on the podcast. Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna say some crazy shit. Fucking guy. Ugh. So, yeah. I'm one of your hosts, David, which I didn't say in the beginning, and I have JR and I have Charles here, just in case if you did not know yet. Now you know. We hope you all had a wonderful New Year's celebration. Happy New Year to all our listeners and viewers. I hope and pray, right, that you have a blessed, prosperous, health-filled, wealth-filled, growth-filled year to all of you. That's what I pray for myself and all those, my family, my friends, my loved ones, and all of you who listen and watch us.
Yep. Oh my God, I love you so much.
So this has been the Grim Fix podcast. Till next week, guys. Please, please, please be safe.
Yes. Bye.